All right, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, my brothers and sisters over at Patreon. This is for the new people concerning community. When you're setting out to want to be part of a community or want to start a community, whichever way you look at it, I'm going to give you a few pointers here this morning. First of all, number one, you need a 3 to 5 year plan. You need to set a goal. And you need to have a vision. Not only that, while the Bible does say that they sold everything, you need to do that. But you don't need to go out there and just start selling everything without a goal and a plan and without a mentor, without someone helping you along each step of the way. Because what's going to happen is you're going to go out there and you're going to be emotionally charged, but you're not going to have any wisdom in what to do. I've made about all the mistakes that anybody could possibly ever make. That's the reason why that I'm making myself available to those who want mentorship and those who want me to actually come to their area and teach them how to go about doing this. So you don't need to go out there and just start selling stuff to meet the conditions of the Bible without knowing how to go about doing it. So there's a lot and there's much to be desired. It really, really, truly is. And I don't want to see you go out there fall on your face because, you know, one of the big troubles that we have is our people, while they're motivated to want to do something like this, everybody don't have the true heart, nor the integrity, nor the intestinal fortitude to do this. You need to be very careful about the type of people that you have in your assembly. If you're going to start off living community or communally, you need to know their spirit. We run a tight ship here, and for the most part, especially here at Straightway, there's some righteous brothers and sisters here. You know, people, it's sad if you don't have control over a lot of things in life, such as if you have a lustful eye. If you don't get control of a lustful eye and you start living community and then you're around brothers and sisters all the time, it can cause a lot of problems. A lot of problems if you have a lustful eye. I often said it, and I said it once, said it 1,000 times, because no sister's spirit or no brother's spirit can really truly endure the spirit of another man or woman that constantly makes some type of spiritual, how do you put this? Spiritual, I want to use the word attack. Because see, here at Straightway, and you only notice this whenever you're here, the brothers and sisters really truly don't have much interaction at all. Now, on the land, a sister will say, hey, brother, can you for instance, if they're out in the garden doing something, or they need something heavy to be moved or something like that, and they're around. But you have to understand, here at Straightway, we're like one big family. We eat together twice a day. We know each other. We worship together. We pray together. We know all of us. And it takes a while to vet people to make sure they're on the same sheet of music, because the one thing you don't want, let's say if you're a man. If you're a man and you got to go out and go to work, and and you've got other men that's going to be in the house, if you're going to combine your resources in order to get some land, you don't want to be dealing with the spirit of jealousy because you see in a brother eyeing your wife. And men know how to try their best to cover it up. That's the reason why the Most High Yah puts it in a man's heart. A man can tell if another brother is eyeing his wife. He can tell that because the spirit of jealousy will come up on him. And if a man don't know how to handle that spirit of jealousy, meaning, if it's something true, you need to know how to handle it. Because you can go off in the accusation accusing your wife. You can go off in the accusation accusing a brother. And sometimes you could just be insecure. You could be just flat out insecure. But these are some things that have to be taken care of from the very outset and from the very get-go. Ground rules must be made. There's a lot of things. And I'm just talking about in the very inception. Even living on the community. Because you could be living on the community and the next thing you know, you got brothers that go out and go to work, and then you got sisters there, and if you got a lustful brother, he could be eyeing your wife or something like that. See, you've got to vet people right off the bat. Or if you have a dysfunctional home and your wife is not getting the attention that she wants, she could be eyeing another brother. And most people don't know how to handle these situations. And first of all, here at Straightway, if we even detect that, any way, shape, fashion, or form. Now, I know people hide stuff very well, but we detect it, you out of the ministry. You're gone. Because that's the one thing we don't tolerate is another man lusting after another man's wife, or a wife lusting after another woman's husband, and she's a wife. We just don't do that. That should automatically be the ground rules for people to automatically, you get one chance, ship out, gone, go somewhere. Because what you're doing is you're coming against a man's covenant who is your brother. You're coming against a covenant with a sister who is your sister. And we know that in the time that we're living in, that this is systemic in the area that we're living in. Somehow, some way, people just don't have self-control concerning this sex stuff. And so, that's just the way we roll. That's just the way we roll. If you come the straight way, you'll see brothers clear on the other side, sisters on the other side. We just don't do it. I mean, and if you need deliverance, you need deliverance. But this is the first thing that really needs to be dealt with. If there's been infidelity in your family before, you need to get a hold of it now. Because sure as the day is long, if you have a straying man or a straying woman and their spirit's not taken care of, it could be very devastating on a community. If a man is pressing his spirit toward your wife, or your wife is making herself all of a sudden available. Women don't need to be sporting themselves in front of men. And another way they sport themselves in front of men is they just come around where men are in the most inopportune time. And of course, men are going to look. They're going to look. And at first, they may not have an intention of anything. And then a spirit starts speaking in them and flaming lust in their eyes and carry on. And the Bible even teaches it, especially in the Apocrypha. You see a beautiful woman, you're supposed to turn your eye from her. You ain't even supposed to even look, much less get caught looking by her. I tell you, there needs to be transparency in marriages. It really truly do. If your wife ever feels uncomfortable, you got a good one, she'll come to you. All my Ishaiahs, if they even detect in the slightest way that something is out of pocket, they all come to me and tell me. They all come to me and tell me. And that doesn't mean that when they tell me that the brother is automatically guilty, what they're doing is they're revealing to me something that they recognize. And then up from there, it's up to me to determine how or what way I'm going to handle it, because I have to do an investigation. Just because they're my wives don't mean that I can't do my due diligence. I need to do my due diligence. And that's one reason why that you see PastorDowell always taking a stance that he does by pretty much, I have nothing against sisters at all. I don't. I love my sisters. I do. But, I cannot afford to put myself in any position, because the devil is always after me. You follow me? To even have anything even look remotely out of the way. I mean, even remotely out of the way, because the spirit of accusation is always working. It's always working. And so you notice I try my best to keep my distance, not because I don't have any affection or love for them, but, displaced affection and love. And believe me, I've done this many, many times over the years. And I've seen sisters, I've seen it. I've seen married sisters lusting after another woman's husband. And of course, eventually we end up getting around it because, again, what they'll do is they'll just all of a sudden just constantly just be around men. Even if their husband is there, they'll constantly come around men. And constantly come around men, what they're doing is they're putting themselves in the line of sight for a particular man to eye them, and thereby inflaming his passions and lust. And then, or either a brother would just eye a woman. Just eye a woman down, make her feel uncomfortable, and to the point that the uncomfortableness changes a little bit, and next thing you know, he's looking, she's looking. Next thing you know, the man's wife sees it, and then all hell break loose. And these are things that are spiritually charged, that if you don't get a hold of them first. See, this is the uncomfortable stuff that you got to talk about. This is the uncomfortable stuff that you got to get settled. You have to have a clearance in your spirit before you start bringing your family around people who say that they're Israel. Because remember, look at Israel. How many people say they're Israel and then look what happens to them? Huh? I mean, you know just as well as I do. Can we really truly trust our people? We talking about we need to come together. We need to do this and we need to do that. Yeah, but what about your past? What about your life? What about have you overcome things? Are you getting viable deliverance? Are you really truly overcoming? Can I trust my family around you? Can I trust my wife? Can I trust my children? I mean, really, all this is stuff that must be dealt with from the very beginning. I'm serious. Because me, I'm going to tell you right now, and I'm going to tell you the way my standard operating procedure is. If I see or detect any of my shias, and I'm trying to give you all a benchmark, as a man, in any way, shape, fashion, or form, trying to draw a man's attention or lusting after another man or something like that, that's Deuteronomy 24 for me. I'll give you a bill and I'll put it in your hand. It will hurt like death, and I'll see you on your way. Bye. See you later. That's the beautiful thing about doing things Yah's way. But a woman's heart is really truly constituted, and her constitution is towards her husband. You don't have to worry about stuff like that. You really truly don't. Like I said, she will be open and honest with you about what she detects. But mostly, for the most part, if a woman is married to a man, her heart is only constituted towards one man. But in this generation, you got whoredoms, whoremongers, whores, just the looseness of this vile, wicked sex of sodomy, men and faggots and homosexuals and transgenders, and I mean they have turned around and made a beautiful thing damn perverted almost. It's just sad. So these are the things that has to be set down and understood and hashed out from the inception, from the very beginning, from the outset. And if you have any type of reservations whatsoever at all in your heart, that you don't have a clearance with this brother or clearance with that brother, they don't carry themselves in an honorable way or righteous way, I'm telling you right now, don't do no community. Don't even try to even get together with anyone like that, because it's all going to end up in a disaster. I believe you me. And of course, you know, if a woman steps out on her man one time, grounds for putting away and divorce. You can't even, you know, the book puts it like this, that if a woman steps out on her man, she sleeps with another man, that man cannot take her back. In any way, shape, fashion, or form, he can't. And that's rough. That's rough. It's going to be too late for I'm sorry. Now, man, he has a total different set of rules that has to be regulated in righteousness. So, this is some of the uncomfortable parts that needs to be discussed and need to be talked about. And there ain't no need in trying to cover it up. You need to have a good conversation, man, with your family, your wife, your children. You need to have a good conversation, an honest conversation up front with yourself. Because if you want to be successful with this, and I'll show you over and over again that it can be done, then you'll take Pastor Dowell's advice and listen to me. I'm telling you. Because there's nothing that can tear up a man's and a woman's soul like infidelity, stepping out, or even perceived infidelity. I'm telling you, the passion and the heat of it, it goes deep, and it can literally destroy people's soul. What you need to remember is that your sister, blood sister, that your brother, blood brother, and if they're in a covenant relationship, there shouldn't even be a sight or a thought with in any way, shape, fashion, form, because the Most High Yah is going to judge all of our thoughts and the intentions of our hearts. You may be getting by with man, but ain't nobody getting by with Yah. And I'm going to tell you one thing for sure that I learned about sin. You better be sure that your sin, it will find you out. I mean, we're living life right now. You think you're getting by, you're giving place to the devil, but it's going to come up in the most inopportune time. It will truly find you out. So you have to make sure that these issues in the heart or of the heart are resolved. These are the things you got to sit down, come to terms at the table, and you've got to lay the ground rules from the outset, from the very beginning. And women, your best thing to do is to always be, even if you detect anything, is to go straight to your husband and tell him what you're detecting and what you're seeing. And you need to have, men, you need to have these talks with your Ashias. You really, truly do. If we're going to keep Israel strong, because we can't continue to be repeating the sins of the Canaanites. We can't do it. Or the Greeks and the Romans or the Americans. We have got to be a set apart, holy people for the Most High Yah. Hope I said something to stimulate thought. Be back here in a little while later.